games, client games, and now last year or so moving to mobile games. Okay, over to you, Carsten.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hi there. Yeah, I'm Carsten. We're mostly doing hardcore games, and that's predominantly out of Germany, 500 staff. Lastly, that we disclosed revenue. We are privately held, so we don't happily do that as frequently as others, but there's a legal necessity to do so with a delay of about 1.5 to 2 years or so. So the last public numbers of 2012 is 140 million euros, and we are, as you just said, doing web and online client games for a long time, free to play to hardcore users, and as happy and honored as I am to be standing here to speak to you today, I would prefer not to be here at all. I would have preferred this mobile paradigm shift really not to happen. I can be quite frank. I have been doing online games for 15 years and concentrating on free-to-play from the beginning, so to speak. And it took me more than half of all that time to get to a stage where, for example, our friends journos of the world, editors, the press is taking any notice. And after we have settled in and have been growing to the revenue numbers that I've just provided them, then this customer base just changes. And I do feel a bit on a smaller scale, of course, like these guys which maybe have been owning or running Wells Fargo horses carriage systems or VHS rental chains for videotapes. And so it's just not worth lamenting. We should rather try to cope with it, and we have then started with the beginning of 2012 Gameforge Mobile company, and have been trying to understand and learn what probably all of you guys do know very well. But at least coming from a hardcore perspective, there's a few things that may be worth sharing, and I will attempt to do that in the next 15 minutes. So the casual and the hardcore user. Imagine playing like going into a restaurant and you order the menu and everything is smooth, and on the left hand side we have the casual gamer. He's just happily expecting the fun which is preserved by the waiter, whereas it already starts to get a bit tricky with the hardcore guy on the right hand side. He is exactly taking out his knife, using a tool to maybe get a better shape, and maybe using some sheets and doing things, and it continues the story, whilst the casual gamer is happily enjoying his fun, eating it up, and then sitting there, possibly waiting for the next course to be served. We have a hard time at times with our core gamers. That's admittedly the case, and he only, according to this cartoonist, is really enjoying his fun after he has maybe slaughtered the provider. That's of course really true, that it does require a lot of attention if you do these World of Warcraft type games as we do them, possibly worse in quality, but actually the biggest one of ours is played by triple the amount of active users than a World of Warcraft is in Europe. So that's not tiny, that's like 9 million users. It's called Native 2. So users do like it, and you fight hard, and you fight up able to exploit things with their tools. And yet, there's one reason why we really like doing it, and that's not part of this cartoon, and it is that the ARPU is just so nice. And as you can easily imagine, with a few users playing your hardcore games, you can make up so much revenue for otherwise really big numbers of the casual space.